What's up, YouTube? Avery Jackalope, Rob Ricks. I'm back. New channel. This channel is going to be the Robert R. Ricks channel. Yeah, so normally about this time every week we do the news. Well, we're going to change that up because the news is what got me in trouble originally on YouTube in the first place. So we're going to skip that shit. We're not going to talk about current events. We're not going to talk about things that YouTube frowns upon and likes to throw that ban hammer down and channel strikes and shit like that. Because, you know, I'm not going to go through all this effort all over again just to have them kind of willy-nilly just delete my shit. So we're gonna play a little bit more safe, I guess I should say. All right, we got some of the crew already on deck here. We got Tenchi, good evening. Magic Ghost, what's uppers? Price. Oh yeah, we're starting off with a bang, fellas. Starting off with a bang. I need to taste some of my tasty beverage there because, you know, it was, I just finished dinner. That's what pushed me back. And I was like, ah, shit. So, I only have really a few things to chit-chat about this evening, and I'm going to leave it open for folks to kind of talk and ask questions and things of that nature. I do want to say thank you to Tenchi for pointing my new channel out to his subscribers so that we get a jump start on stuff, and I also want to thank everybody that came in and did a sub. That was very, very appreciated. I found out after I hit 100, you can't do your vanity URL until you have been active for a month. Oh, fucking well, what can you do? What can you do, right? So anyway, fuck it. Netflix right now has Lost in Space. It's the brand new reboot of that, which I'm very excited about. We got a little bit of a baby story time for you. When I was growing up, Lost in Space was one of the very first quasi sci-fi shows that I watched on a regular basis, and I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty much because of what the fuck was her name now? Penny? Was her name Penny? Damn, I can't remember. The one, the brunette. I was like, heck yeah, I want to be lost in space with you, girl. Well, this one is a little bit different, and it's funny. We've kind of come full circle. You know, it's not the first time that somebody's done Lost in Space. They did the Lost in Space movie, God, probably 10 years ago, something like that. And that wasn't too bad, but I'm really digging the vibe that I'm getting off of this one. So I'm like, all right. And I was really, I didn't know that was popping off yesterday. And I was like, oh, snap, crackle pop. That's awesome. Jay, what's up? Yeah, right, Jay? You know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I mean, back in my day, there was only a handful of shows that really come to mind. So you had Battlestar Galactica, you had Buck Rogers, and you had Lost in Space, and of course you had the obligatory Star Trek. And you know, I watched all that. I loved all of it. But you know, Lost in Space had a special spot in my heart, as well as there was a couple of episodes of Buck Rogers that really just stand out in my mind. The one with the vampire really scared the shit out of me. It was like invisible; nobody could see it. It was like, it was. I don't remember the whole story. I just remember bits and pieces because I was terrified as a little kid watching that shit. But yeah, so let's see. Rampage just popped off this weekend. I wanted to watch that. I didn't get a chance to watch that. You know, it's just been really hectic and crazy. Let's see what else. Well, come on. I'll be honest. Some of my time has been spent playing Far Cry 5. Holy shit. Far Cry 5 is amazing. It's wow. It's really good. Really good. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm putting a video together for it, and we finished it. And I'm not going to go into spoilers, but fuck. If you like your games wrapped up in a nice, neat package and have a somewhat happy ending, moderately happy ending, don't finish this fucking game. Period. Don't finish it. Yes. Yes. And a dude from Friends. That's right. Kenchi. Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, Far Cry 5, man, I'm telling you, it touched on a lot of funny stuff. It had conspiracy theory stuff. Some of the stuff that it said in that game, I was like, what? I was like, what? But they did it in such a way where it was kind of making fun of conspiracy guys. But regardless, they were still pushing some information out that I was like. And then there's this whole MK Ultra theme that runs through it. Oh my god. Far Cry 5 is well, you know, I wouldn't know, Tenchi. I haven't played the first four. I only played this one because it was in America and it had a vibe that I was like, you know what? This looks fun. I'm going to check this out. Open air environment. Interface is amazing. Very minimal. Just lets you kind of get caught in the environment. The hunting is fun. The fishing is fun. The side quests are fun. The collectability part is pretty fun. There was a couple of technical snafus that you run through. I played on the Xbox One. But other than, you know, some things that I think I figured out why they do, it's awesome. It's awesome. And Ubisoft, I gotta give them props because they have these live action segments. Like I just saw one the other day. It was 30 minutes long, and it did a great job just kind of encompassing the whole vibe of the Peggies and stuff. And I was like, woo wee! And as I was going through and playing this game, there's a couple of parts where I started to have a sinking feeling. Midway in the game, I was like, what, bro? Here, let me look at something real quick, guys. Yeah, that was auto close. That's what I thought. I am working actually right now, so I have to make sure that I keep my phone on and pay attention to it. So bear with me. Anyway, yeah. So Far Cry 5 is just amazing. Just amazing. Loved it, loved it, loved it. And they have this arcade mode, which I played a little bit today because one of the things that they do to kind of keep, you know, give people a little more bang for their buck is, I'm sorry, guys. I had to look at that real quick. You had to put content in there for the community to build up levels and things of that nature, different types of gameplay type modes. One is like seek and destroy, or you know, find, like assassinate, find a target, kill them and get out. One is taking out the whole level. What's up, Socket Wolf? It's good to see you, brother. And then there's another one. I can't remember. Now those are like single or co-op, and then of course they got the multiplayer stuff. And so the maps are opened up. You can create maps and submit it to the community, and people can come in and play and stuff. And I haven't done that. I'm not a big multiplayer environment. I prefer to play a lot of my games single player or co-op, just because I don't usually have a lot of time to play games, and so I hate when my friends are like, oh yeah, come and play, and they want to play for like a long stretch, and I'm like in and out, in and out, in and out. So I don't usually do a whole lot of multiplayer type games. Let's see. I was going to point something out, and I just drew a blank on it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. one thing I wanted to point out with Far Cry is, you know, of course they're gonna have a couple more DLCs that they're gonna release, and interesting enough, there is certain quests that you play that I believe lead directly into those DLCs. So if you do play Far Cry 5, make sure you don't skip out on the side quests and stuff. In fact, what I would recommend you do, have I watched Sneaky Pete on Amazon? No, and you are not the first person to say, watch this show. I have probably about 6 or 7 people so far told me I need to check that out. There's that. There's Lost in Space. There is a series of unfortunate events. There is a couple of one-off movies. I have the Hurricane Heist. I have just a ton of content that I need to sit and watch, and that's one of the things that this particular I kind of sat back and said, what can I cover on YouTube and not get in trouble, but still kind of have it reflective of my life and things that I have going on. And movies, TV, books, comic books, those things, you know, obviously occupy a big segment of my life. In addition to that, you know, there's I still review certain types of gear and alcohol, as well as vacation things. So those are going to be loosely the things that I'm going to cover. But I am going to make a concerted effort to do a lot more entertainment type reviews. And then people that follow me know the type of stuff that I'm into, that stuff that I like. And that way, when you're trying to figure out, do I want to waste my time with this? You know, I'm hearing all this shit, negative reviews, blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, you know, Rob, you know, he motherfucker likes the same shit I like. He liked it. Fuck it. I'll go check it out. And I think that's gonna be a safe bet for me on the YouTube, since I can't talk about the other stuff. Now, the other stuff that I do talk about, that shit's gonna probably end up being over on BitChute, and I might still do some Twitch streams related to that stuff. There might be like a Sunday night show or Friday night show or something like that. You know, yeah, Tenchi, you can review pretty much anything you want. In fact, we're talking about alcohol. Alcohol. This Hellcat Maggie is very quickly growing on me. Very, very quickly. This shit right here is like a poor man's Jameson, because I got this in a gift set with 2 shot glasses, $20. So I would imagine the bottle itself is probably going to be somewhere in that same neighborhood, because I think that bottle with the 2 shot glasses and stuff like that, I think that was just a promotional thing to kind of get more brand awareness and get it in people's hands and stuff like that. And so, you know, we got my shot glass for my new viewers. This is one of my favorite shot glasses. I saw this over in Spencer's in the mall, and I just said, dude, that's fucking hilarious. Dude, you're freaking me out. You're freaking me out. Meow, meow, meow. So, anyway, cheers, motherfuckers, to your health. Smooth. Smooth as a motherfucker. Now, we're going to take a shot of something that's not as smooth, but is very dear to my heart. Blackheart. Because she is not pretentious at all. She is straightforward. She lets you know what to expect with a nice big bold 93%. 93 proof, I should say. Not 93%. If it was 93%, it would kill me. 93 proof. Sorry, I misspoke. Now, what I like about Blackheart is she starts off Ooh, so sweet. Very, very nice. Lovely girl. Right? Kind you bring home to mom. Look at how sweet and nice she is, mom. She is just a belle, you know. She's just awesome. Then, cheers. Mm. Oh. Woo. And then she goes home, straps on a nasty little device, and fucking ruins your fucking evening. Whoa, she hits hard. Love it, though. Mm. All right. Anyway, what else we want to chit-chat about? So, the other game that I picked up recently, and it's a little older one, a little bit older game, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. What's up, Angel? I did your double shot already, man. I did your double shot already. And the reason that I picked this one up is because I wanted all of the DLCs are already available for it, and it's Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, and I probably have maybe an hour in on this game, and I flipped the artwork around. I actually dug the fact that the artwork from the actual sleeve, the actual deal here, was reversible. So, you know, that's how it came. You know, you got all your ratings and stuff on it, and then they had all this artwork and stuff, and I said, you know, I like the artwork, so I flipped it around. I tell you, since I'm now such a huge fanboy of Far Cry 5, they have this one family edition, they call it the family edition, I think, that has this deer skull. Has a big ass deer skull on it. It has like all this etchings and stuff on the horns and stuff. I'm gonna hunt that bitch down. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it just because I just need to let you guys know just how big a fan I am of Far Cry 5. So I say, my kids broke my favorite whiskey glass, so since Mr. Jameson put his good beverage in a glass bottle, I won't have to clean a glass tomorrow. There you go. Pop it straight. Pop it up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I try not to get too attached to my glasses and stuff, and things that I do have some kind of a closeness with, I'm the one responsible for cleaning it between uses. I don't, you know, if it's something I don't want broke, I don't let nobody fuck with it. So, I wanted to talk with you guys also. Oh, excuse me. Not about this crazy shit going on in the world or nothing else, but I want to talk with you about how we're gonna collectively get through all of this madness, because it's become really apparent to me that I gotta tread lightly on this shit, man. I hate editing myself. I hate pumping the brakes and formulating the thoughts before I say it, because it's not as free flowing. You know what I mean? Like, traditionally, if you guys watch this, I didn't give a fuck. I said whatever the fuck I wanted to say, and that was that. But there's been a lot of weird shit going on over the last, I don't know, a couple of weeks that I wanted to share with you guys, because I've had some little weird epiphanies, if you will, and I wanted you guys to share this with me because it might impact some of you good folks in the way you're dealing with a lot of this insanity going on around us. And it also might paint a very clear reason why a lot of shit's happening. So, human beings are very adverse to change, and human beings also are very easily controlled by utilizing fear. But one thing that's always kind of baffled me was if you have too much fear happening, you become, bless you become fatigued. And it doesn't have the same impact that fresh, solid, pure fear would have. You know what I mean? So I had these theories for a long time, on a lot of different things. And I've shared those with family and I shared them with friends and stuff like that. And some of these are like metaphysical type theories. Like, I've always had a problem with the concept of linear time, meaning you start here and you just go one straight path and then you die and then, you're judged based off of the singular choices that you made along the way, which I thought that's kind of a bad design because you're not really ever going to get the entire person. You're going to just get this snapshot of a person's life based off of whatever particular variables hit him and her at that particular moment, which is kind of bullshit. And I said, I don't believe God. So yes, I believe in God. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. But I thought that'd be silly for God to do it this way. So instead, what I said, and I'm giving you guys the abbreviated version, and I'll explain why I'm talking about this in a second. So I thought, well, what if when we get to these different decision points, time fragments off and creates a divergent timeline? Okay? Creates another timeline, splits, and then you just, you're going that route. Decision A, decision B, one or two. And as those choices keep happening, you end up getting this huge mesh of alternate timelines. And then when the final timeline thread ends, all that data is recompiled together, and then you can kind of see the consensus on what kind of person ultimately you were without any of this bullshit excuse of, well, I was poor, I didn't have money, because in one of these divergent timelines, you ended up hella rich. You know what I mean? Whatever. And they said, guess what? You're still a dick in that timeline. So anyway, I came up with that concept, and I came up with a bunch of other ones on things like deja vu. I came up with different things on my viewpoint on things like reincarnation, karma, etc., etc. Well, the other night, we're sitting there, and my wife, she's been watching these videos on this one particular lady, and I can't remember her name. I'll have to find out from her what the name is. And this lady was doing these past life regressions, and she was very big in a UFO environment where she would do these deep sleep type regressions where you didn't have your conscious mind active, and she was dealing with like the super subconscious. And when she was doing that, other voices started coming through and communicating with her and giving her bits and pieces of information. So my wife was blown away by this lady. And I listen to pretty much anything. I don't really care. I don't pass judgment. I let people run with enough rope. And if they're full of crap, eventually they'll contradict themselves. They'll say things that, especially people that make predictions, that say stuff like, oh, the world's going to end at 2:45, December 21st, 2012, whatever. And the next day you're like, you're wrong, And then they say, well, give or take 7 years. It's like, oh, give or take 7 years. Okay, whatever. Well, this particular lady started saying stuff that was being communicated to her, and lo and behold, she started saying some of the theories that I have been telling privately to my family, and this lady's dead now, so there's no way, she could have been reading any of my stuff, listening to any of my stuff, but hers was slightly different. Instead of divergent timelines and threads, and I went with threads because I was taking it from like a a nod towards mythology with the fates, talking about the threads of fate and things of that nature. She was instead calling them facets. Every time a decision was happening, your soul was getting another facet, like a gem, different light beams hitting it and things of that nature. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. It was basically a similar concept, but somewhat different. Now, I bring her up because she was talking about, well, not just divergent universes. We're talking infinite numbers of universes and possibilities and things of that nature based off of the individual. But she brought up some concepts that me and my wife started making our own derivative pieces on and started talking about, like we were laughing about. For example, she was saying not everybody that we interact with around us are actually real people. There are some of these that are artificial intelligent holograms. Now, if you play a game like World of Warcraft or any kind of a MMORPG, we call those characters NPC, non-playing characters. If you're pen and paper and you go back to Dungeons and Dragons, every character other than the character that you're controlling, that the DM, the Dungeon Master, is controlling and interacting with you, is also referred to as a non-playing character. So we were saying, how fucking funny is this? Like, okay, so we're real PCs, but there might be people we come in contact with that are non-playing characters. And that was kind of an interesting thought for me, because I thought that makes sense in certain ways, because there are some of these people that we look at and we say, these motherfuckers have no point of reference of what it is to be a struggling person like us. Like, how many of these uber rich elite people do we see that just don't get it? You could say on the one hand, they're bad people or evil or whatever. And we can say, so talking hypothetically on a funny thing, what if they're non-playing characters? These are just some bad guy NPCs while we're playing the game, And I thought that, it was kind of interesting that came up. And then all this other stuff that the lady was talking about. Well, there has been some weird things that have been happening for a while now. And some people refer to it as the Mandela effect. And what was interesting is that stuff started happening. It coincided with two different things, CERN, and it also coincided with the 2012 end date. And you have some people that have postulated that our universe died, and basically all of our consciousness slid to a divergent timeline, and we just kept going. It was like a safety mechanism built in. Something happened while we were asleep or whatever, and we slid into this other one. Well, this lady was talking about something that was interesting. She called it the New Earth. And I found it intriguing because I wrote a book called Convergence 2012. And the background of Convergence 2012 is the fact that the Earth is alive and there's different realities that are off-phased dimensions, that when the convergence happened, it was a different phase on the planet's consciousness. So if the Earth is awake, things like magic and other stuff suddenly started working. While the Earth was asleep, magic and things like that stopped working. And it was all from a dream where I woke up wondering, what if all this time where the alchemists were trying to transmute lead to gold and all this other stuff, there was times when it worked because the Earth was dreaming. And while the Earth was dreaming, then it was able to do it on a limited basis. But when these other divergent timelines are packed on top of the Earth, then suddenly magic works again. So that's what the premise of my first book, Convergence 2012, was. And I thought it was interesting because here she's talking about something a little bit different. So the Earth is splitting like a cell. Okay, so it's like this, just kind of like, baby being born, right? Cell split, cell split, cell split. But the Earth splits. In the old Earth, the vibration stays really slow. In the new Earth, the vibration speeds up so much that it's off in its own dimension. So it's off-phased. And so people that are hung up in their issues and their anger and things like that are stuck on this old Earth. And the people that clear their slate, clear the slate of the negative karma, they're actually going to, their vibrations are going to speed up and they'll offset off. And what will happen is people will start disappearing around us, but it's not like the rapture where suddenly there's these beams of light and people just fucking start disappearing. It's more like, hey, do you remember that dude Bill that we used to hang around with? Yeah, whatever happened to him? I don't know. I think he like moved away or something. It's like, it's kind of like the stuff we're seeing with the Mandela effect, where some people say, yeah, remember when C-3PO had the red arm, and someone says, no, I don't remember that. You know, it's like there's things in our consciousness and the things that we are cognitive of, but when the shift happens, it's just not so jarring and abrupt that we go, what the hell? You know what I mean? It's more like, yeah, remember that dude, Rob Ricks? Remember he had that YouTube channel? That was kind of crazy. And then he was there, and then I guess he stopped, right? It's like, nah, man, he did it for a little, and then all of a sudden, he just, I think he got a book deal or something. He just kind of took off, and he did his own thing, and I got busy with this other stuff. So it's like that, you know? It's not like you get freaked out by it. You know what I mean? Anyway, I thought this was a very interesting concept because there have been so many things happening that you gotta kind of look at things and go, interesting. You know, why is it that they're always operating and pushing things from a fear perspective as opposed to, hey guys, let's come together, let's work as a cohesive team, and let's bridge these gaps? Because, man, there's been times where I've done live streams and we've had people from all different walks of life. We've had the ultra liberals and the ultra conservatives, and they all hung out and they were fine. There was no beef, there was no problem, you know. And then, but if you look at these types of things that are pushed out, then it suddenly becomes this real negative environment. So I decided, after listening to this lady talk about things, to make some changes. Because one of the things that she said, which kind of struck a chord with me, was we create our own negative environments. And the more negative the environment is, the more health problems start to manifest. And I remember this time, maybe a year ago, I was having a problem with my squiggly spooch, is what I was calling it, but they were calling it my gallbladder. They wanted to take my gallbladder out. And it turns out I just was dealing with a whole lot of stress and negativity at the time that I dealt with, and said, nah, you know, I'm not going to do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then, lo and behold, I recovered pretty quickly. Well, my arm has been really problematic for the last few months, and it just really kind of came out of nowhere. Like, some people said jokingly, oh, you did it from chopping the frozen pig heads or whatever. But I went back and thought about it, and I hadn't really done any hard use chopping videos because of the carpal tunnel, the problem that I was having here, which has since disappeared. This is gone now. But then I had this pain that came here that everybody was telling me was tennis elbow / keyboard elbow, whatever. And I thought, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I do spend an inordinate amount of time on my computer, so that makes perfect sense. And I've got these two really big monitors, and I was picking the mouse up and just doing a whole lot of traveling and stuff with it. And so I was like, yeah, but this lady said, if we hold on to negative things, like we hold on to grudges, we hold on to the slights that people have done against us in the past, and we hold and we keep it alive, what ends up happening is that becomes a very toxic, negative environment. And it's funny because part of me was like, oh my God, this is some woo-woo sounding shit here, because, you know, oh my God, here we're talking negative, and oh, you're a negative influence. But then I started catching myself, said, wait a minute, why am I so negative about this particular point of view? Because I've been indoctrinated that anytime somebody talks about certain things like that, they're like hippie mentality, you know, new age, whatever, right? But I'm open enough to sit there and say, okay, you know what? I don't see the harm in this. And it's not like the world's going to collapse anytime soon for me to hunt these people down that are on my short list anyway. Maybe I do need to make a change. I'll make a change. And so I basically was like frozen. I said, let it go. let it go, let it go. I was like, okay. And I gotta tell you guys, immediately, I felt a big weight come off my shoulders. And, I'm not a stranger to things like the law of attraction, and I wasn't a really big fan of that concept, and I've got issues with that core concept. But um, I do believe that if you make the effort and you try to better yourself on a regular basis, sky's the limit as far as your perception of reality. Um, and I do also believe that this is a holographic matrix that we live in. I think this is a big fucking video game that we're all coexisting in. To again point back to MMOs. It's like World of Warcraft, just a whole lot better. It's like version 1000 on a fucking Xbox or something. But I thought about this and I said, I'm gonna let this shit go. I'm gonna let it go. And that's when I decided, fuck it, I'm gonna re-spark up my YouTube. I'm not gonna sit there and say fuck YouTube and there's all this other stuff. YouTube is YouTube. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. That's neither here nor there. But I do understand YouTube is the biggest fish in the pond. It is the monster shark. It's the megalodon. It's the Meg. Which, incidentally, if you have not seen that Jason Statham trailer for Megalodon movie, you need to check that out. That's hotness as well. But I decided, fuck it, I'm going to make a change. And I went back, and it's funny because last night we ended up watching a movie called Flatliners, which is a remake of the 1990 Keith Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, one of the brothers. I forgot his name right now. Anyway, it was a remake of it, and it was a pretty good remake. It was a little bit spooky, but it had a ultimately good message at the end. And I found it also kind of synchronicity. There was some synchronicity there because, the without putting too much of a spoiler inside of that particular movie, you have to make right with things, and it's not just exterior; it's interior. A lot of the things that we deal with in life, we create the problems, and so you have to be able to get your mind right and be able to say fuck it, literally just say fuck it, and just not let it get you down. Because I was talking to my daughter and her friend last night, who's also like one of my daughters, and we were sitting there talking about life, how to deal with things. And my daughter pointed out to me, she kind of said something kind of flippant to me, like, well, you already said when the time comes for you to die, you're going to give the Grim Reaper a high five and blah, blah, blah. And then I added and I corrected her. I said, and also offer the Grim Reaper a drink and toast to him because, about fucking time. But she missed the point that I was trying to make, which is, I'm tired. I've lived a pretty full life. I've given a lot of effort, and I always, push. But we all should be at a phase at any given moment, if we were to die, that we say, okay, fuck it. There is somebody screaming outside. There's a kid screaming bloody murder. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. It was like a little girl just screaming bloody murder. Maybe the Grim Reaper's visiting her right now. But I said, why are you afraid of death? I said, death is one of those things where you really shouldn't freak out about it too much, because if, you're like, oh, I don't know if there's something after or if there is something after. Well, you got a 50-50 chance, right? Because if there's nothing, then you're in oblivion and you won't fucking know anyway. You're dead. If there is something, you're going to be, whoa, what kind of magic fucking, ride is this shit going to end up being? And so we were talking about stuff like the fear of death, and I told her, I said, most people aren't really afraid of death per se. I think they're afraid of one of two things. Either afraid of the pain that they are fearful that they will experience before they die, or they're very fearful of the unknown, right? They're just like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen next. And so my advice is, because they were looking at the news and I commented on something and everybody started freaking out. I said, look, there's really no reason to freak out. Life throws us many curveballs on a regular basis. It's really not worth freaking out over unless there is something to really freak out over. For example, if I tell you there is a chance that tomorrow somebody's going to come to your house, knock on your door, kick the door in, and hold a gun to your head. That sounds scary. But I also said there is a chance. That was not a surety. It was not something that was 100%. I was like, there's a chance. There's a slim chance tomorrow something like that can happen. And that's how we see the news. The news tells us these things all the time. We're like, oh my God, But the reality is, you worry about a situation when you're looking at the situation. Now, obviously, if you see something going a certain way, you can make precautions. You can make your preparations and things of that nature. But it's really not worth freaking the fuck out and going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know what I mean? So I think the reality is, I think there are certain things that benefit from us being in a perpetual fearful state. And I think, no, actually, I know. The only way to defeat it is with positivity and love and caring. And it's not like those are difficult things. But we become so indoctrinated and so conditioned to not trust and to, just somebody has to prove that they're worth my time before I'll treat them like a human being. And I think ultimately that's the problem, that we're all going to have to come together and figure out solutions one person at a time, and it's going to start with us and kind of end with us, really. That's why I was changing up. In the past, I used to say stuff like, if you like it, please subscribe, tell your friends far and wide. Until next time, that was it. And then I said, be good to yourself. And then I changed it up. I said to be good to yourself and good to each other. And then started adding other stuff like ride the bus till the wheels fall off, go out and have some adventures, get some scars, live life, etc. So that outro has evolved and changed constantly over the years. But, I'm also going to add at the very end now, and make sure you love each other. Because when you stop and think about it, at the end of the day, human beings crave that above all else, is to basically just be loved. And we could sit here and debate that point ad nauseum, but if you look at how people act, why they do what they do, why they wear the clothes they wear, why they wear the colognes, why they do this, why they do that, is to draw someone into their life to love and to be loved by. That is the actual true social nature of humanity. Far above and beyond anything sexual at all. It really comes down to trying to live the life the best you can, and then being able to first and foremost be able to love yourself, forgive yourself for any mistakes you've made along the way. I think a lot of people get hung up on mistakes they made when they were younger. And understand, I was telling this to my kids, look, every day you should try to better yourself. But in lieu of that, every day you should try to learn something. So if something bad happens that you perceive as bad, did you learn something from it? If you did, well, there you go. You learned something. The day was a success. I think too many people set too high expectation on things, and they're not realistic. And some people live extraordinary lives, but they don't acknowledge it. They don't look at it and say, wow, I did this, and I did this, and I did this. And they don't give themselves that pat on the back for a job well done. Living a good life is a job well done. If you die and you have scars and you have momentous things you have done, whether they're good or bad, it's irrelevant. You have lived your life. You have made decisions. You have stood by those decisions. and you have just savored that shit, right? As opposed to some people who I won't name who don't aspire for anything. Literally no goals, no dreams, no aspirations, no nothing other than to stuff their fucking face with food, maybe bust a nut every once in a while, play some fucking video games, that's it. No dreams, no goals, nothing else. Just the same shit day in, day out. Day in, day out. You know, and I'm not trying to say go out and be an emperor or go out and be, you know, some great person or anything else. But for God's sake, find your passion. Find something that you like to do, you love to do, and then master that shit. Attack it, devour it, you know. That's the lifeblood, and you're a vampire, and you need it to survive. You know, that's the thing that kind of drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. You know, I look at certain people, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I realize, holy shit, that's a motherfucking NPC. You know what I'm saying? So... yeah, man, exactly, Angel. You have to fucking live it, man. You have to live it to the fullest. And Jay says we are social creatures. We need others to survive. We do. That's a proven fact. A baby without the touch of a mother will fucking wither away and die. You can't have a robot raise a child. The child just needs that human connection, the human connection. There's a lot of stuff we don't understand. There's a lot of things that people just kind of, you know, whatever. They gloss over the details. They flip a switch, lights come on, and they don't think it any further than that. I think we all need to start really looking at things around us and questioning, how does that work? Why is it that way? You know? Is there better ways of doing this? Is there better ways of communicating? I mean, we live in a world where we have technology like this, where the words and my image are being broadcast for literally, potentially millions of people to see. Do you realize how powerful that is? How crazy that is? It just boggles the mind. It just boggles the mind. And there's a commercial going around right now showing pagers and then the FaceTime and then some other stuff. And it's crazy. All right, Tenchi. Later, man. Have a good one, bro. Yeah, I'm only going to do about another 10 minutes here. I'm going to spend some time with the wife. She's home. She got kicked in the ER while she was working by a young kid, and it broke her finger. So, yeah, it's been a hectic, crazy week for me. And again, I want to remind you guys, I won't be here next week. Next week, I'm doing some gun training and some other stuff with a buddy of mine. He was super cool enough to pay for some rifle training for me, and I'm super excited about it because I get to take some time away from work and stuff and actually literally blow off some steam, which is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be super duper fun. But what I want to do with you guys, what I'd like to challenge you guys to do is I want you guys to just kind of think to some stuff that's been lingering, like some dirty shit in your closet. It's springtime. Let's do some spring cleaning. You know, there's been stuff we've all held on to for far too long. Just let it go. It's really not worth it. Unless you really have a concerted plan to go and blow somebody's ass away and throw them in a pit, in a ditch somewhere, and you're just, you know, biding your time, and that's that. Let it go. It's not really going to, you know, make you a better person. Am I going to try to do some videos while you're doing the training? I don't know if they'll let me. It's front sight training. I don't know if they're going to allow me to film any of that. I'll see when I get down there, because I'm definitely bringing my camera and stuff down. And if I can't show any of that, I can at least share some of the stuff that I take away from it. But that's going to be sitting over on the BitChute side, and if there's a live stream associated with that, it's going to be on a Twitch, because obviously I can't I can't do it on this platform for obvious reasons. But anyway, that's it. I didn't have a really structured program plan for tonight. I really just wanted to do a conversation with some of my closer friends that I knew would be watching this, and some of the folks who missed this stream, they're gonna watch it and they'll comment probably over the next few days. But I wanted really just to give some background meat to some stuff that you might notice some changes with as time goes on. And I didn't want that to be in a vacuum and have you go, what the fuck? Did Rob join a cult or some shit? And now he's like fucking Hare Krishna or some bullshit? No. It was just me trying to unload some heavy weight and just find ways to make myself happier, because at the end of the day, that burden and that responsibility lies on us to make ourselves happy. It's not on our wives, it's not on our friends, it's not on our co-workers or our fellow gamers or anything else. It's nobody's responsibility to give us fulfillment, validation, and all of that stuff to make us happy. The only person that can truly make you happy is yourself. And that's kind of a tough pill for some people to swallow. You know, and I keep telling my daughters, don't buy into this stuff like, oh, person is my better half and this is my soulmate and this person completes me. You are a complete individual in of yourself, and that is where you need to operate from. Before you think you can love somebody else or anything else, you know, that's that. Jay asks, any word from the latest agent about book? You know, so the last agent, this lady, I love her. I really hope and pray she represents me, because I think out of all of the agents that I have researched extensively, she's the only one I think that would get my crazy. And that's important for me, because I think she probably would get the master plan. She hasn't said no yet. She's taking her time reviewing the stuff that I submitted to her. And while that was going on, a very interesting thing happened. I submitted, let's see, this platform right here. I submitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 requests through this system that I thought was a pretty interesting system. I had 2 declined pretty quick, but I submitted this stuff back January 19th, and then yesterday, day before yesterday, suddenly, here, I think I can actually show you guys this. Hold on. I can share this. I can share the web page with you guys, and you can see it. Let me just do this. I think it's all I do is I do display capture. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so it's this system right here, and you could see declined, and you could see declined. Well, a couple of days ago, suddenly this group right here, Gandalfo, Helen, Fountain Literary Management, they lit up all green, which means they looked at my profile, they looked at the project, and they looked at my uploads. So I was like, oh, well, I guess people do get around to looking at this system at some point. But you can see, you know, I submitted this January 19th, and a couple of days ago was the 12th. So I was like getting already a little disheartened by all of that. And so, yeah, there might be something there as well. But the one lady, she's awesome. She's awesome sauce, and I really hope she works out, because she's got the cool name. I don't want to say her name because I don't want to put her on blast or anything like that. But if she does represent me, I'm going to tell this whole little story on, you know, Twitter and some other stuff where I was interacting with her, and she's just a cool person. So I'm hopeful, and we'll see what happens. That's the other thing that's kind of tough, is not saying stuff like I'm going to try or I'm going to do this. What do you need us to do to help get this published? Well, you guys are doing it right now, especially the folks that subscribed and they help me out with these little incremental things that I'm doing, because every author needs to have what's called a platform, and that basically is comprised of like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And sometimes some of the authors will have like their own websites with forums and things of that nature, and the forums are actually pretty alive, and people spend time on it communicating. And this is kind of my forum right here where I do things like this. And I might do a separate stream that's just related to the book stuff, because I know some people, they're not necessarily interested in my writing. They're more interested in, you know, reviews, entertainment type based stuff, jokes, funny things, you know, things of that nature. And I get it. So I think what I'll do is I'll have another thing where I'll start to open it up to questions and answers, start to kind of coach people through things that I'm going through. There'll be like these little vlogs that'll pop up where as I hit certain milestones and I discover and learn something that's kind of like, whoa, did you know that? It kind of blows my mind. I'll share that with you folks. But as far as anything above and beyond, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. It's not like I have anything super compelling up to get people mobilized behind. Like if it gets past the agent, then the agent puts it over in the publisher, and the publisher is like, you know, oh, this is great. Let's see how many units we sell or something like that. Or let's see if he could pack the house inside of San Francisco or LA or, you know, Utah or whatever. You know, call to actions for things like that become more important at that particular point. But for right now, it's still really early on, and that's the thing that I'm really learning that's frustrating about publishing is it is very antiquated, it is very old school, and it is incredibly slow. And in all honesty, if this last lady and these 5 throw declines on it, then I'll go self-publish. And then at that point, what do I need people to do? Then I need people to obviously, you know, the inner circle I'll give free copies to. I then need people to read it and give me their honest assessment of it, and then, you know, vocally give it praise if they like it, and go from that point of view. Because the more people that read it, the more people that like it, the more people that share it, then obviously it gets more and more successful. Even if it's like, you know, you show one person a week, you know. And I think really what works well is when people are truly enthusiastic about something and they become a fan of something. That is contagious. Like they're like, oh my god, this was so good, and then, oh my god, this book had me up, and it was not like any other book, and you got to check it out. I think you would really like it. And then people are like, wow, you really? Okay, I'll take a peek at it. And you put it in their hands, and they actually read it, and they like it, and they're like, wow, okay. You know, that's eventually what will happen. But for right now, there's really not a lot anybody else can do, other than like you guys really came together and helped me out to get this this channel up and running pretty quick. So I do appreciate that. All right, we're at the time. I started at 7:15. It's 8:15. I want to thank you guys as always. You have a choice on Saturday what you guys want to do. You chose to spend it with me, and I can't say thank you enough. And I hope you guys have a glorious rest of your evening. Good weekend. I hope you guys are doing well. And as always, if you like it, please subscribe. Tell your friends far and wide. Until next time, please be good to each other, good to yourself, live life to the fullest, ride the bus till the wheels fall off, go out, have some adventures, get some scars, and love each other. All right, guys. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. Like I said, again, not here next week, but there will be something. All right? It is 10:16 East Coast. Yeah, I know. For me here in Mountain, it's 8:16. So, yeah, you're a couple hours ahead. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later.